Nintendo just had a rough week. The Switch 2 is going up to $500 in September, and the original Switch, after 9 years of chasing the PS2's all-time sales record, is basically out of runway. And is GameStop out of their mind? More on that later. So, starting September 1st, the Switch 2 goes from $450 to $500. Nintendo put out an official statement saying it's due to changes in market conditions, which is corporate talk for the memory chip shortage that's been hitting the entire tech industry this year. And look, $50 is annoying, but Nintendo's actually the last of the big three to do this. Sony raised PS5 prices by up to $150. Microsoft did the same with Xbox. Nintendo held out the longest and raised prices the least. They even apologized for it, which, when's the last time a company did that? They put out a statement that said, "We sincerely apologize for the impact these price revisions may have on our customers and other stakeholders," which was a very Japanese thing to do. A $500 Nintendo console still feels weird to say out loud, but in the context of what everyone else is charging right now, it's honestly not the worst situation to be in. Now, the other story, and this one's more interesting, the original Switch is sitting at about 156 million units sold. The PS2's all-time record is 160 million. 4 million away, it should be close, right? Not really. Nintendo just forecasted only 2 million more Switch 1 sales for the entire next year. The console is 9 years old, the Switch 2 is out, and sales have been dropping every year since 2021. The math doesn't work anymore. But here's the part that makes this a little funny. For years, the PS2 was officially listed at 155 million units. Switch 1 has already passed that, so technically Nintendo already beat the old record. Then, in March 2024, on his literal last day as PlayStation CEO, Jim Ryan went on the PlayStation podcast and casually dropped this. The 2000s? That would be, I would say, 160 million, which is the number of PS2s we sold. A high watermark. And just like that, the record jumped 5 million, right as Switch was closing in on it. People on the internet immediately said what everyone was thinking. He moved the goalposts on his way out the door. Whether that's true or not, Nintendo now needs 4 million more sales from a console that's basically winding down. The PS2 is probably keeping that crown. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the memory shortage issue plaguing the entire tech industry, but Sony apparently saw this coming. They stockpiled memory early, bought it while prices were still low, and that's why PlayStation has been relatively stable compared to everyone else. But that's not the case for Microsoft. A leaker named Moore's Law is Dead, who's been right about this stuff before, said in late 2025, they didn't plan ahead at all, apparently. Supply could just entirely dry up. Multiple sources of mine have been warned by sales reps at Microsoft that this is going to affect Xbox Series consoles very, very soon. But it's worth noting this was from a leaker, not an official source. But then the new Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, basically confirmed the situation herself in an interview in April. She was asked about the next Xbox, codenamed Project Helix, and when it's coming. Her answer was, all of these things are an equation. Memory costs will impact pricing, will impact availability. The world's pretty dynamic. No release window, no price. Dev kits aren't even going out to developers until 2027. And here's the kicker. Microsoft is one of the biggest investors in AI right now, the same AI boom that's eating up all the memory chips. So Microsoft's own business is competing with its own console. They essentially helped create the shortage that's now affecting them. Copilot should have at least warned them. Speaking of things nobody planned for, GTA 6. The game is currently set for November 19th. That's the date after 2 delays. It was supposed to come out last year, then May this year, and now November. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has been doing press rounds saying he feels, quote, very good about the date holding. And this week, Sony started sending emails directly to PS4 owners who have GTA 6 on their wish list. The email says, Grand Theft Auto 6 is on your wish list. Get a PlayStation 5 today to be ready for when Grand Theft Auto 6 launches on November 19th, 2026, with a QR code to go buy a PS5 right now, today. So Sony is out here telling people to spend $500 on a new console, which they just raised the price on, for a game that's already been delayed twice and still doesn't have a trailer 3. The confidence is either completely justified or the most expensive gamble in gaming marketing history. We'll find out in November. So that's the state of the console wars right now. And somehow that's not even the wildest business story in gaming this week. GameStop, the store you walk past in the mall and assume is closing down, just made a $56 billion bid to buy eBay. To put that in perspective, GameStop as a company is worth about $11 billion. They're trying to buy something 4 times their size. Ryan Cohen, the CEO, went on CNN and said the deal would make eBay a legit competitor to Amazon. Wall Street's reaction was basically, okay, where's the money coming from? GameStop has about $9 billion in cash. They've lined up $20 billion in debt financing from TD Bank, and the rest is being figured out. eBay said they're reviewing the offer, which is the corporate version of leaving someone on red. The reason this is a gaming story at all is because this is the same GameStop that nearly went bankrupt a few years ago, got saved by meme stock traders on Reddit, and has been quietly sitting on a pile of cash ever since, trying to figure out what to do with it. And apparently, what they want to do with it is buy one of the biggest e-commerce platforms on the internet. Nobody saw that coming, not even close. So that's been it for this video. Look, I try not to do this, but statistically speaking, you're probably not subscribed. Fix that. It's the easiest side quest you'll ever complete. And check out this video. YouTube thinks you'll like this.